When I got fired, my wife dragged me online. It is hard to respect a loser who can't even stay employed. Then she asked for divorce. Thinking I was broke, I didn't argue. I just walked out and let reality hit her a lot harder than I ever could. Sup Reddit. So my wife posted, "Imagine losing your job and still calling yourself a man" on Facebook right after I got laid off. 30 minutes later, she dropped a confession that made me realize I'd been living with a stranger. Grab some popcorn, because this one goes from a bad day at work to absolute chaos in about 60 seconds flat. I, 34 male, have been married to my wife Jocelyn, 33 female, for 3 years, together 6. When we met, she was working retail at Nordstrom, splitting a place with 2 roommates in a part of town where the sirens do more cardio than the residents. I was making about 70 grand as a logistics coordinator, which isn't private jet money, but it covered real life just fine. Compared to her 28,000 selling luxury handbags to women who treated shopping like revenge therapy, it might as well have been a cheat code. Early on, things clicked because we were building something simple. I handled the heavy lifting, she handled her side, and we kept our expectations in the same zip code. Nights in, decent meals, low-key weekends. Normal stuff. After we got married and bought a small house, that balance started drifting. Somewhere between joint tax returns and arguing over trash duty, it stopped feeling like a team and started feeling like I was running household operations while she kept mentally browsing the premium lifestyle aisle. The beginning of the end happened at her friend Morgan's 30th birthday dinner, one of those trendy fusion places where they serve you 4 pieces of something unrecognizable on a slate board and charge you $45 for the privilege. Morgan married a corporate lawyer who wore $1,000 suits and drove a BMW he definitely couldn't afford. Jocelyn had been hitting the drinks hard all night. Not tipsy, fun, intoxicated, but mean drunk. The kind where every third sentence turned into a passive-aggressive jab disguised as a joke. Morgan was going around the table making everyone share their biggest accomplishment of the year. Peak narcissist behavior, but whatever. Everyone played along, bragging about promotions and vacations to places I couldn't pronounce. When it got to us, Jocelyn jumped in before I could say anything. "He's thinking about starting a business," she announced, which wasn't true because I'd already been running one for 3 years, out of my buddy Micah's garage. We'd designed and patented a modified compressor valve system that made commercial HVAC units run 30% more efficiently. Contractors were buying them faster than we could manufacture them. One of Morgan's friends leaned forward. "Oh yeah? What kind of business?" Jocelyn waved her hand like she was swatting a fly. "His little garage project. It's cute how he spends weekends tinkering with tools like a hobby mechanic. It's industrial HVAC components," I said. "We patented it." She laughed. "Same difference, right?" Then she pivoted to talking about how Morgan's husband just made partner and bought them a lake house in Tahoe. How her other friend's boyfriend was in tech and pulling down 300 grand a year. All this stuff about ambition and drive and people who were actually going places. The whole table went quiet. I just sat there cutting my $40 piece of salmon into smaller and smaller pieces, while she basically told everyone I was a disappointment with good intentions. Someone changed the subject to some reality show I hadn't watched. The dinner crawled along for another hour of me smiling politely, while internally calculating how much money we were wasting on this psychological torture session. In the car afterward, I finally said something. "That was messed up. Comparing me to your friends' husbands in front of everyone." She acted shocked. I wasn't comparing, just making observations about different levels of ambition. "You called my company a hobby." "Because it is a hobby," she said. "You have a full-time job and mess around in a garage at night. Literally the definition of a hobby. It's a legitimate business. We're patented. We have real customers." She gripped the steering wheel. "If it's so legitimate, where's the money? Why aren't I seeing any return on all these hours you're spending away from home?" "We're reinvesting everything," I said. "Building something sustainable instead of blowing it all on depreciating assets to impress your terrible friends." "That's convenient. You're probably barely making anything and just calling it reinvestment to make yourself feel better about being mediocre." We didn't talk the rest of the drive home. She went straight to the bedroom and locked the door. I was wondering when exactly I'd married someone who thought I was a loser. Something clicked that night, though. Like a switch flipped in my brain. Started seeing all the little things I'd been ignoring. How she never asked about the business except to mock it. How she only cared about appearances and what her friends thought. How every conversation circled back to what we didn't have instead of what we were building. Started wondering if this was really what I wanted for the rest of my life. The next 6 weeks passed in this weird fog. I kept going through the motions at work and the garage, but everything felt different. I'd catch myself looking at Jocelyn and realizing I didn't really know who she was anymore. Or maybe I was finally seeing who she'd always been. Either way, something fundamental had shifted. I started keeping more to myself, spending extra hours at Micah's place, letting the distance between us grow naturally. She didn't seem to notice or care. They let me go on a Friday afternoon. Classic corporate move where they ruin your weekend so you can't make a scene on company time. My manager couldn't look me in the eye. Gave me some nonsense about budget realignment and restructuring. We're consolidating operations with the regional office in Phoenix. Nothing personal, man. Just business. 8 years. 8 years of covering for incompetent coworkers, training new hires who got promoted over me, working holidays during crunch time, and fixing supply chain disasters created by executives who'd never spent a day in a warehouse. All reduced to nothing personal, man. They gave me 45 minutes to clean out my desk. I texted Jocelyn from the parking lot. Simple message, got laid off. Heading home. 3 dots appeared and disappeared for like 30 seconds before she finally responded. Are you serious right now? Not are you okay or we'll figure it out. Just are you serious right now? Like I'd ruined her afternoon on purpose. I confirmed. Told her the whole department got cut. How are you going to make mortgage payments? I told her I had 6 months of expenses saved, unemployment would kick in, and I'd start looking for something new on Monday. Plus, the business was doing well enough, I could probably pull a salary from it if needed. This is unbelievable, she said. I drove home in silence, doing the math on severance packages and trying to figure out if getting fired was actually the universe telling me to go full-time with Micah on the company. When I got home, Jocelyn was sitting on the couch with her laptop. She worked from home as some kind of marketing coordinator, though I'd never seen her actually work. Mostly scrolling social media and online shopping on the company dime. She looked up when I walked in, carrying my box of desk supplies. So you're really unemployed? This isn't a joke? It's real. She closed her laptop. We need to talk about our financial situation. Not how are you feeling or that's terrible or we'll get through this. Just straight to the money conversation like I deliberately torpedoed our marriage by letting myself get fired. We'll be fine. I have savings, severance, unemployment. We won't miss a mortgage payment. How long does fine last? How long can you sit around the house being unemployed while I'm the only one working? You make $42,000 a year in a remote job where you work maybe 4 hours a day. I've been carrying most of our expenses for years. That's not the point. The point is you couldn't even keep a basic job. What does that say about you? About us? About our future together? I reminded her about the business. That Micah and I had something real going. That I could potentially transition to working it full-time now. She laughed. Not a nice laugh. The mean kind that makes you feel stupid for opening your mouth. You keep talking about this business like it's a real thing, but I've never seen proof it's anything more than an expensive hobby. Where are the results? Where's the lifestyle Morgan's husband provides? I tried explaining again about reinvestment and growth and building equity. She cut me off. It's a convenient excuse for why we're still living like we're broke, while her friends drive luxury cars and take international vacations. She stood up, grabbed her purse and keys. I need space to think. To figure out if I married someone who's actually going somewhere or just someone who makes good excuses. What do you need to think about? Whether this marriage is worth it anymore. Then she left. Just walked out the door and peeled out of the driveway, like she was escaping a hostage situation. I sat on the couch for a while, staring at my box of office supplies, and wondering how fast a marriage could turn into a business negotiation where one party wanted to liquidate their position. Then I opened my laptop and started doing real math. The house was in my name only. Bought it 6 months before the wedding with savings I'd accumulated through my 20s. California law meant it would stay mine. The business was mine and Micah's. Started 3 years before I even met Jocelyn. She had zero legal claim to any of it. I pulled up our bank accounts. We had a joint checking for household expenses, but my real money sat in separate accounts she didn't even know existed. The business account. My personal savings from before the marriage. About 90 grand total that was completely separate property. And just like that, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I called Micah. He answered on the second ring. I told him about getting laid off. That's nonsense, but maybe good timing, he said. The buyout offer's still on the table. We have until end of month to accept or counter. Maybe this is the sign you needed to commit full time. I told him Jocelyn didn't believe the company was real. That she thought we were barely breaking even and I was wasting time in his garage. That she'd just walked out talking about whether the marriage was worth it. What do you mean? She thinks I'm making up the success to feel better about myself, has no idea about the actual numbers. And honestly, I'm done. I'm divorcing her. Dang, you sure? Completely sure. But I need to be smart about it. I'm moving money around this weekend, making sure everything that's mine stays mine. You need help? Yeah, I need your cousin, the divorce lawyer. Can you get me his number? I'll text it to you right now. He's good. He'll protect you. After we hung up, I got to work. Opened a new personal account at a different bank. Transferred my separate property money out of the joint accounts where it had been sitting. Moved the business funds to a business-only account with just my name and Micah's. Documented everything with dates and sources, showing the money predated the marriage. Took me 4 hours, but when I was done, everything that was legally mine was completely isolated from anything she could touch. Then I checked my phone. Jocelyn had texted 3 times. Not apologies or check-ins, just updates about how hard this situation was for her, how she needed time to process, how this was really difficult for her to deal with, how she wasn't sure she could handle being married to someone without a stable job. Then I saw what she posted on Facebook 30 minutes ago. Imagine losing your job and still calling yourself a man. Hard to respect a loser who can't even stay employed. No names mentioned, but everyone who knew us would know exactly who she was talking about. Comments were already rolling in. Morgan and her crew hitting the like button, dropping supportive messages about knowing your worth and not settling. I screenshot it, saved it to a folder on my desktop labeled Divorce Evidence. Had a feeling I'd need it. Then I called Micah's cousin, left a message explaining the situation and asking him to call me back as soon as possible. He called back 20 minutes later. I told him everything. The layoff, the Facebook post, Jocelyn walking out, her comments about the marriage not being worth it. I told him about the separate accounts, the business funds, the house being in my name only. We talked through a few more details, then hung up. He'd prepare the paperwork over the weekend and file everything Monday morning. I spent the rest of the weekend at Micah's going through acquisition paperwork and avoiding my phone. Jocelyn texted 27 times about her emotional state. I didn't respond to any of them. Jocelyn came back Sunday night. I'd spent the weekend preparing for this exact moment. She walked in looking like she'd been at a spa instead of Morgan's couch. Hair done, makeup fresh, new outfit. She sat down across from me. Not next to me. Across from me like we were about to have a business meeting. We need to have a serious conversation about our future. I spent the weekend talking to Morgan and the girls about everything. Of course she had. Because nothing helps a struggling marriage like getting advice from women who treated their husbands like ATMs with disappointing withdrawal limits. I've been thinking a lot about whether we're compatible long-term, whether we want the same things. Don't worry about it, I said. I've already made the decision for both of us. She looked confused. What do you mean? I'm divorcing you. Papers are being filed tomorrow morning. You have 30 days to get out of my house. The color drained from her face. You can't be serious. Dead serious? Actually, the most serious I've been about anything in months. Feels good, actually. You can't just kick me out. This is my home, too. Actually, I can. The house is in my name only. Bought it 6 months before we got married with money I saved before I ever met you. California law is pretty clear on this. It's separate property. You have no claim to it. You're being crazy. You can't make decisions like this without talking to me first. I just did. And it wasn't that hard, honestly. Pretty straightforward when you realize you're married to someone who thinks you're mediocre and posts about it on Facebook for everyone to see. Her eyes widened. You saw that post? Yeah, I saw it. Imagine losing your job and still calling yourself a man. Real subtle, Jocelyn. Your friends got the message loud and clear. So did I. I was just venting. I was upset about you losing your job. It didn't mean anything. It meant everything. It meant you think I'm a failure, that I'm not good enough, that you're settling by being married to me. Well, good news. You don't have to settle anymore. You're free to go find someone who meets your standards. She started to panic. I could see it in her eyes. The realization that this was actually happening. We can work through this. Every marriage has problems. We can go to counseling. No thanks, I'm good. Already got a lawyer, already moved my money, already planned out the next 6 months. You're just a loose end at this point. You moved money? What money? My money. The money that was mine before I married you. The business account. My savings. All separate property that you never had any claim to. I just made sure it's protected now. Her face went from confused to furious in about 2 seconds. You're trying to hide assets from me. That's illegal. It's not hiding assets when they were never yours to begin with. Talk to a lawyer if you want. They'll tell you the same thing mine told me. You get nothing. This is insane. You're being vindictive and cruel. I'm being practical. You made it pretty clear this weekend that you're evaluating whether I'm worth staying married to. Well, I did my own evaluation and decided you're not. So now you can take your excellent decision-making skills and apply them to your own life. Somewhere else. In 30 days. She stood up, shaking. You're going to regret this. You're making a huge mistake. The only mistake I made was marrying someone who thought my life's work was a cute hobby. But hey, we all make mistakes. Mine just lasted 3 years. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her whole face changed. Not guilt, something worse. Satisfaction. Like she'd been waiting for this moment. You know who just texted me? She laughed. I don't care. Someone who actually has their stuff together. Get out of my house. Why? You can't handle seeing what a real man looks like? Someone who didn't just lose their job? I laughed. Repeat that part about real men while you're sitting there getting served with divorce papers. Her phone buzzed again. And again. Someone was definitely having a conversation with her in real time. She stood up, holding her phone where I could see the screen now. Deliberately. Like she wanted me to notice. You're being paranoid. Maybe if you spent less time being insecure and more time being successful, we wouldn't be here. Sure, in 30 days, in someone else's house. Right now, I want to know who you've been texting all weekend while you were supposedly soul-searching about our marriage. Fine. You want the truth? She said, although I didn't ask. I've been talking to someone who knows how to treat me right. Someone who doesn't pinch pennies like we're broke. Someone who actually takes me places without checking the menu prices first. When did this start? 6 weeks ago. Right after Morgan's dinner. You remember that night? When you embarrassed me by not having a real job? Yeah, that's when I realized I was done settling. So you've been texting some jerk all weekend while deciding whether I'm worth staying married to. That's interesting. It's not some jerk. It's Spencer, my ex from college. And yeah, he's rich. Actually rich. Not I run a garage hobby rich. He drives a Tesla. Has a downtown condo. Takes me to restaurants that don't have laminated menus. She didn't even try to hide it. You know what? I don't even care. You want to text Spencer? Go ahead. I don't care who you're with. Too late for that, actually. I've been seeing him for weeks, and it's been amazing. He doesn't pinch pennies anywhere, if you know what I mean. Actually generous. Actually makes me feel wanted. Something snapped. I stood up so fast my chair fell backward. Pack your stuff and get out. Now. Not in 30 days. Right now. Oh, I'm already staying with Spencer half the time. Have been for weeks. His place is nicer anyway. Actual art on the walls, not your stupid car posters. And his bed? King size, California king, not whatever cheap queen size nonsense you got on sale. I walked straight to our bedroom, heard her following me, still talking trash. You want to know the best part? Every time you were at Micah's garage playing mechanic, I was at Spencer's place. In his sheets, in his shower, in his bed. And it was so much better than anything you ever gave me. I started grabbing her clothes from the closet, armfuls of them. Designer dresses, expensive shoes, all the stuff she'd bought with money she didn't earn. Threw them on the bed. What are you doing? What do you think I'm doing? You're leaving. Tonight. You can't just kick me out. This is my house, too. I laughed. Actually laughed. Grabbed her jewelry box off the dresser. No, it's not. It was never yours. You just lived here while I paid for everything. I dumped the jewelry box into a garbage bag. Started shoving clothes in after it. She tried to grab the bag from me. Stop it! Those are expensive! Then Spencer can buy you new ones. Get your hands off my stuff. I pushed past her, dragged the bag to the front door, went back for more. She was standing in the bedroom doorway now, phone in hand like she was going to call someone. You're insane! I'm calling the police. Go ahead. Tell them you've been cheating with your ex-boyfriend in my house for 6 weeks. See how that goes. I grabbed her makeup bag, her toiletries, everything from the bathroom counter, threw it all in another garbage bag. She was crying now. Real tears this time, not the fake stuff from earlier. You can't do this. Watch me. Bathroom stuff went in the bag. Photo albums, the ones with her family, not mine, her laptop, her iPad, everything that was hers. I wasn't thinking anymore, just moving, getting her stuff out of my space. I'm getting a lawyer, a good one. Spencer's actually. Corporate attorney. I'm entitled to half of everything. The house, your business, all of it. And I'm taking it. I stopped. Looked at her. You're not entitled to anything. And you're sure as heck not staying here another minute. We'll see what a judge says when they hear about how you neglected me. How you refused to provide the lifestyle I deserve. How you lost your job and dragged me down with you. I threw the second bag next to the first one by the front door. Went back for more. Her books. Her decorative nonsense. Everything. She tried to block the bedroom door. Move. No. You're being psychotic. I picked up a bag of her clothes and opened the front door. Threw it onto the lawn, then the second bag. then went back for more. Stop! That's designer! It's going to get dirty! Should have thought about that before you cheated with Spencer in my house. Third bag went onto the lawn. Fourth bag. I was in a rhythm now, just clearing her out. She was screaming, crying, trying to stop me, but I didn't care anymore. You're going to regret this. Spencer's lawyer is going to destroy you. You'll lose everything. Fifth bag, sixth bag. Her shoes scattered across the grass. Her stupid throw pillows from the couch. The scented candles she loved. Everything. All of it. Out. I'm going to take you for everything you have. The house, your business, your truck, all of it. I walked back inside, grabbed her purse from where she'd dropped it, and threw it after everything else. She was standing on the lawn now, surrounded by garbage bags, looking at her stuff like she couldn't believe this was happening. Get off my property, Jocelyn. You're going to be sorry. When Spencer's lawyer is done with you, you'll be living in that terrible garage with Micah. You'll have nothing. I already have nothing. You made sure of that when you posted that Facebook nonsense, when you cheated with your ex, when you spent 6 weeks treating me like garbage. So yeah, I've got nothing to lose. This isn't over. I'm going to make your life terrible. You'll regret this. You'll come crawling back and I won't be there. Looking forward to it. Now get off my lawn before I call the cops for trespassing. She started grabbing bags, throwing them in her car. Had to make 3 trips. I stood in the doorway the whole time, watching, making sure she took everything. You're pathetic. You're going to die alone in this terrible house with your terrible hobby business, working on other people's cars because you couldn't afford your own life. I'm going to be in Spencer's penthouse drinking beverages that cost more than your monthly grocery budget. And you're going to be here, alone, broke, regretting everything. She got in her car, still yelling through the open window. You'll see. You'll see what happens when you throw away the best thing that ever happened to you. She peeled out of the driveway so hard she left tire marks. I stood there watching her taillights disappear. Then I closed the door, locked it. She texted me once that first night. Just once. Came through at 4 in the morning. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. Spencer's lawyer is going to destroy you. I'm taking the house, the business, everything. And when you're working on cars in some terrible garage barely making rent, I'll be in his penthouse laughing about how pathetic you were. Have fun dying alone and broke. I screenshot it, forwarded it to my lawyer with the subject line, Exhibit A, then blocked her number and went back to sleep. I found out through mutual friends that she'd moved in with Spencer, that she was posting on Instagram about her new relationship, about choosing happiness, about upgrading, posting fancy gifts from him. I didn't look. I didn't care. I was too busy signing acquisition papers and planning my next move. The buyout closed on a Wednesday morning. Micah and I sat in a conference room with lawyers and accountants, signed approximately 7,000 documents, and watched our bank accounts update in real time. $1.3 million after taxes and expenses. More money than I'd made in my entire life combined. We went to this bar downtown, ordered drinks that cost more than dinner, and tried to process what had just happened. What are you going to do first? Buy a new truck. Mine has 240,000 miles, and the transmission's making concerning sounds. That's it? No. Buying property too. Industrial space. For the next business. Already have 3 ideas brewing. You're insane. You should take a year off. Travel. Relax. Relaxing's for people who don't have anything to prove. I have plenty to prove. We stayed until closing, celebrating. When I got home to my empty, quiet, Jocelyn-free house, I did something petty. Updated my social media profile. Bio. Entrepreneur. Patent holder. Building what's next. Posted a picture of my new truck. Nothing fancy. Just a newer Tacoma with functioning transmission and no cracked windshield. Caption. Upgrade complete. Within hours, people were commenting. Old co-workers asking about the business. Friends from high school congratulated me. Random acquaintances I hadn't talked to in years suddenly became interested in my life. 2 weeks after the buyout closed, Micah's cousin who worked building security downtown mentioned something weird at Spencer's company. Guys in suits asking questions. People getting walked out with boxes. Week later, it went public. Spencer's consulting firm had been under federal investigation for 6 months. Fraud scheme. Fake invoices. Phantom vendors. Over 500,000 embezzled. The news hit on a Tuesday morning. Federal agents showed up at his office, arrested him in front of everyone, walked him out in handcuffs. The kicker? Almost everything Jocelyn had been posting about was fake. The condo was rented, 2 months behind on payments. The Tesla was a lease he couldn't afford. The expensive dinners and gifts were bought with embezzled money on corporate cards. Spencer was broke. Worse than broke. He was going to federal prison for being broke. Jocelyn's Instagram went completely dark within an hour of the news breaking. No posts, no stories, nothing. Her friend group started scrubbing comments. Morgan deleted entire conversations. But the internet remembers everything. Screenshots existed everywhere. I got a text from Micah. One of our old clients had reached out asking if we were available for consulting work. Major commercial developer building a 100-unit apartment complex. Wanted our input on HVAC efficiency systems. 20 grand for 2 weeks of consulting. I took it. Not because I needed the money. Because sitting around celebrating the buyout was getting boring. Needed something to do with my hands and brain. The consulting gig turned into 3 more projects. Word got around that we actually knew what we were doing. Other developers started calling. Architecture firms wanted our specs for new builds. Within a month, I had more work lined up than I could handle alone. Started hiring. Found 2 guys who'd been laid off from the same company as me. Both had families, both needed work, both jumped at the chance to build something new. Got a message from my lawyer. Jocelyn's attorney had filed a motion to delay the divorce. Claimed she needed more time to review financial documents, wanted to contest things, thought she was entitled to half the buyout money, even though the business existed before we got married. My lawyer laughed when he told me. Said her case had 0 merit. The business was completely separate. The buyout had nothing to do with marital assets. She was grasping at straws because Spencer's arrest had tanked her backup plan. She's going to lose and probably rack up 10 grand in legal fees trying, he said. Let her try. I've got time and money. She's got neither. The motion got denied 2 weeks later. Judge barely looked at it. Told her attorney to stop wasting the court's time with frivolous claims. Set a final divorce date for 6 weeks out. The divorce finalized on a Tuesday morning. Same courthouse, different outcome than she'd hoped for. Judge split the household furniture 50-50, awarded her about 8 grand from our joint savings for the 3 years of marriage, and told her to have a nice day. She walked out with roughly the same net worth she'd walked into the marriage with, maybe less after legal fees. The house stayed mine like it always was. Bought it before the marriage, separate property, case closed. Business buyout, untouchable. Started before I even met her. Her lawyer tried one last attempt about spousal support. Judge shut it down in about 15 seconds. 3-year marriage. She was employed when we split. No kids, no dice. Whole thing took 20 minutes. I signed the papers, watched her sign hers, and walked out a free man. Best $200 an hour I ever spent. She showed up at my shop on a Thursday. I'd bought the industrial space with acquisition money. 2,000 square feet with proper ventilation, good lighting, real workspace. Been spending my days prototyping the next product line, meeting with potential investors, building something new. Someone knocked. I figured it was Micah or maybe a delivery. Didn't bother checking. It was Jocelyn. She looked rough, hair thrown up in a messy ponytail, no makeup, wearing old yoga pants and an oversized hoodie. Not the Instagram version. The real version that had been hiding underneath. Hey, she said, please don't close the door. I considered it. Really considered just shutting the door in her face and going back to work. But curiosity won out. What do you want? I need to talk to you. We're divorced. Papers are finalized. We have nothing to talk about. Her eyes kept drifting past me, taking in the 2,000 square foot industrial space with the new equipment, the prototype stations, the professional setup that probably cost more than she made in a year. She was doing the math in her head, realizing what she'd actually walked away from while she was busy posting pictures in Spencer's Tesla. Her face went through about 5 different emotions in 10 seconds. The business. It's real. You actually made it. Yep. I didn't know it was this successful. I thought, you thought it was a garage hobby, because that's what you kept calling it. She asked if she could come inside. No. She wrapped her arms around herself, even though it was 70 degrees out. Started going into this whole thing about how she'd made terrible mistakes, been wrong about everything, about me, about Spencer, about what actually mattered. Her voice kept breaking. She looked past me into the shop like maybe she'd see something familiar in there, something that would remind me of better days. I just stood in the doorway. Did this revelation come before or after Spencer got arrested? She didn't answer. Her face did that thing where you can see someone trying not to completely break down. Lips pressed together. Eyes blinking too fast. You need to leave. I have work to do. She tried a different angle. Said she'd been in counseling, working on herself, learning about her patterns. Wanted a chance to show me she'd changed. Asked if 6 years together didn't mean something. I leaned against the doorframe. It means I wasted 6 years on someone who thought I wasn't good enough until the exact moment I didn't need her anymore. She just stood there crying. The real kind that makes your face red and your nose run. Not the performance tears from before. She was waiting for me to soften, probably. To remember some good memory and give her another shot. I didn't. Asked her how things were going otherwise, since she seemed so interested in my life. She looked confused, wiped her face with her sleeve, told me she was staying with her sister in Phoenix. Lost her job because she was too distracted. Car got repossessed. That's rough. That's all you have to say? Yeah, your problems aren't my problems anymore. Then came the real ask. She needed help. Her family wasn't talking to her. Morgan and the friends had ghosted her once the Instagram life collapsed. She was desperate, wanted to know if maybe she could move back in temporarily, just until she got back on her feet. She'd been sleeping in her sister's spare room. I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. Call Spencer. Oh wait, he's in federal prison. Her face crumpled. Said I was being cruel, that she'd apologized. Apologizing doesn't undo what happened. Doesn't unpost all those Instagram pictures about choosing excellence. Actions have consequences, Jocelyn. Welcome to yours. She kept trying. Said she was different now. Humbled. That losing everything taught her what mattered. Her hands were shaking. She kept glancing back at her beat-up Honda, like she was scared it might disappear while we talked. Take those lessons into your next relationship. Just do it somewhere else. Then she asked for money. A loan. Just first and last month's rent. She'd pay me back. Her voice was getting higher, more frantic. When I didn't respond, she kept going. Said she just needed enough to get into an apartment. Any apartment. She could get a job once she had an address. She was promising interest. Promising to sign something. Promising anything. Please, I'm begging you. I need help. I watched her unravel. Watched her realize that desperation doesn't work on someone who's already watched you leave. No. I'm not a bank. I'm not your safety net. I'm not your backup plan. She actually grabbed my arm. Started crying harder, saying she had nowhere else to go, that I was the only person who could help her, that she knew she'd messed up, but she was drowning. I pulled my arm back. That's the thing about burning bridges. Eventually you run out of places to stand. Do you feel good about this? About kicking me while I'm down? I feel neutral about it. Someone else's problem isn't mine to solve anymore. She turned to leave. Made it halfway to her car, stopped, turned back around. Is there any part of you that still cares about me? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No. That ship sailed when you decided Spencer's Tesla was more important than our marriage. She got in her car and just sat there for a minute, hands on the wheel, staring straight ahead. Then she drove away. Haven't heard from her since. But hey, she got what she deserved, while I leveled up and will continue to do so. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.